Welcome to Trademark News. I'm Hayley Tarr. This week, we've seen a couple of seemingly familiar brand names filed by unexpected applicants. Paddle Pop, P-A-D-E-L, Pop, has been filed for organising of sporting events and production of television programs in Class 41. To me, Paddle Pop immediately calls to mind the Paddle Pop ice cream brand, maybe because I was such a connoisseur when I was a kid. But in this case, Unilever still has its registration for Paddle Pop for entertainment, sporting and cultural activities in Class 41. So it is unlikely that the Paddle Pop application will go through. On the other hand, Myer Jewellery has been filed by an unexpected applicant for jewellery in Class 14. This immediately calls to mind the Myer department stores brand. Myer did have a series trademark registration covering jewellery in Class 14, but that has lapsed as the renewal fee was not paid. They do not have any registrations or pending applications in Class 14 anymore and do not have jewellery specifically mentioned in any of their Class 35 registrations. As many listeners would know, it has been the practice of the Trademarks Office to deem retailing of a specific good as closely related to that good itself. But retail services in general would not normally be cited against an application for a specific good. Perhaps Myer could jump onto the trademarks database and quickly narrow one of the retail services claims in one of their registrations to make specific mention of jewellery and other unregistered goods to save themselves the cost of a potential opposition if they are not cited and the Myer jewellery application is accepted. Now, some humorous applications have come through this week, one for Sandy Cracks, two for Tough Titties, and there are also some for Goldgasm, Peachgasm, and Lovegasm. It will be interesting to see where Australia draws the line in regards to whether or not such marks are deemed scandalous. This is a particularly difficult task in the face of limited judicial and legislative guidance on the matter. The registrar must not only consider the general taste of the time, but also the susceptibilities of persons, by no means few in number, who may still be regarded as old-fashioned, end quote. So while a mark may be funny to a tattooed up 20-year-old, we have to factor in the feelings of an old granny, or vice versa. The old granny may have a lot more liberal views than the tattooed up 20-year-old. Either way, there is a broad cross-section of the community that must be factored in to the registrar's decisions on these types of marks, and I do not envy that responsibility. This week, we've also seen some new applications by big brand names. Amazon has filed a new application for a mark that looks like a dice with 5 rolled on the dice. That's for software in the field of medicine. National Australia Bank have applied for 3 new trademarks for the acronyms NZDN, AUDN, and USDN. They sound like the jurisdictions followed by the acronym for debit note, so we'll see how those applications go. And the Bundaberg Ginger Beer Company have filed a couple of new applications for clothing. It looks like they're trying to get into the pyjama space, which is a smart move given all the recent Vegemite pyjamas that have been so popular as prints on the Tradie and Peter Allister brand pyjamas. This is a potential revenue source for all product companies that are seeing the trend in licensing of Warner Brothers and other character marks extend to various clothing and merchandise companies, with other cult-type products being used now as an homage to Andy Warhol and the pop art space. We've had cans of soup on our wall, and now we have tubs of Vegemite on our pajamas. So business owners, take note. It is a possibility to register your marks for goods outside of what you use them for and license the mark to clothing and merchandise companies as an additional and potentially lucrative revenue stream. Along a similar line of companies that are already doing well but are expanding into new markets to gain additional revenue streams, Nando's have filed a new application for classes 35 and 9, being the retailing of virtual goods and the virtual goods themselves. So all you Nando's fans will be pleased to know you'll be able to go to a Nando's store and buy yourself a Nando's burger in the metaverse. And finally, we see a few other interesting applications. CAREBEARS seem to be having a comeback. Those characters from Cleveland LLC are the owners of Care Bear IP, and they have filed 3 new Australian trademark applications this week. There's an application for Bota Box for alcoholic beverages. On their website, it states that the wine is low carb and low calories, and Bota Box, by the sounds of it, it should also reduce wrinkles. And an appropriate one to finish up on, given it's Australia Day week, and every self-respecting Aussie will have spent some time around the barbie this week, Weber have filed a new application for education and cooking classes in class 41. Not to stereotype, but I think a lot of men will be chomping at the bit to book into those classes. And I know how hard it can be to buy men presents sometimes. So, Dad, if you're listening, I know what I'll be getting for your next birthday present. Well, that's all for Australian Trademarks database this week. Happy Australia Day, everyone. This is Trademark News, and I'm Hayley Tarr.